So you gave us Peter Thiel's 0 to 1.
Yeah,
And
that's a good one.
oh my gosh.
It's a doozy.
This book is a wild ride. It's not your typical business book.
Right.
It's more like a playbook for anyone who wants to challenge the status quo and create the future, which I know is right up your alley.
Yeah, what I find so refreshing is how Thiel immediately throws down the gauntlet.
Yeah.
He asks this question: what important truth do very few people agree with you on?
Oh.
It makes you stop and think.
It really does make you think.
Yeah.
He's basically saying if you want to build something truly innovative, you have to be willing to look beyond the obvious and challenge conventional wisdom.
Yeah, and he uses the dot-com bubble as a prime example of what happens when conventional wisdom goes unchecked. Remember all those companies that thought just being online was a business model?
Oh, yeah.
They were following the crowd straight into a bubble.
Yeah, and that's where Thiel's contrarian thinking comes in.
Totally.
Like his take on monopolies. He actually celebrates them. It sounds crazy at first, right?
It does, but only if you're thinking about those old-school monopolies that stifle innovation and jack up prices.
Right.
Thiel is talking about creating a creative monopoly.
Okay.
A company that's so good at what it does that it outshines all competition.
So think Google, not the robber barons of the past.
Exactly. Google revolutionized how we access information and became incredibly valuable in the process because they dominated search. They could invest heavily in innovation, giving us things like Gmail and Google Maps, all for free.
Yeah. This is what Thiel argues is the potential upside of a well-run monopoly.
It makes you think differently about competition, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Instead of battling it out in a crowded market, what if you could create something so unique, so valuable, that you're in a league of your own?
Yeah.
That's where Thiel's idea of secrets comes in.
Right.
He argues that true innovation comes from uncovering hidden truths that most people either haven't noticed or don't believe are important.
In a world saturated with information, these secrets are like gold. Thiel uses the analogy of a treasure map.
Okay.
The real value isn't in finding the map. It's in having the courage to follow it to the buried treasure.
Oh.
Even if everyone else thinks you're crazy.
Wow.
It's about trusting your gut.
Yeah.
Even when it goes against the grain.
But Thiel also warns about the dangers of getting stuck in what he calls the cycle of incrementalism. He uses Hewlett-Packard as a cautionary tale.
Right.
A company that was once a powerhouse of innovation, but ultimately lost its way.
Yeah. They went from inventing the first affordable color printer to being so afraid of making a mistake.
Oh, wow.
That they missed out on major opportunities. They became so focused on competing with each other internally that they forgot to innovate.
It's a stark reminder that even the most successful companies can falter if they lose sight of what got them there in the first place.
Right.
That willingness to take risks and pursue those 0 to 1 moments.
Totally.
And speaking of building a company for the long haul, Thiel has some pretty strong opinions on the importance of the founding team.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't pull any punches.
Comparing choosing a co-founder to getting married.
Oh, wow.
It's a decision with lasting consequences, for better or worse.
Okay, that might be a slightly dramatic comparison.
Yeah.
But I get his point.
Yeah.
It's about finding people who not only have the right skills, but who also share your vision and values.
Precisely. It's like Thiel says.
Yeah.
A startup is like a small group of people on a mission to change the world.
Right.
And just like any successful team, they need to be on the same page.
Working towards a common goal.
And to illustrate that point, Thiel uses a surprisingly relatable analogy.
Okay.
The DMV.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's brilliant, really.
Yeah.
You see, the DMV, with all its bureaucratic layers and inefficiencies, represents what Thiel calls the misalignment of ownership and possession.
Wow.
We, the people, technically own the DMV, but we sure don't feel like it when we're stuck in line, right?
Those employees have forgotten who they're really there to serve.
And that's what Thiel cautions against in the startup world.
Yeah.
Founders need to make sure everyone feels ownership over their work and understands how their contributions drive the company's mission.
Right.
It can't just be about clocking in and out.
So how do you create that sense of ownership within a company?
Right.
Thiel believes equity plays a big role.
Totally.
And not just as a way to pay people.
Right.
But as a way to give them a real stake in the company's success.
Exactly. Thiel argues that equity should reflect contribution and commitment.
It's about aligning everyone's incentives with the long-term vision.
Right.
So they're not just working for a paycheck. They're working towards a shared goal.
It makes sense, but Wouldn't that involve some tricky conversations about who gets what?
Absolutely. Thiel acknowledges that perfect fairness is almost impossible.
Right.
But he stresses the importance of transparency within the founding team.
Everyone needs to understand and agree on the equity split from the get-go to prevent resentment and misunderstandings down the line.
And he also talks about the importance of keeping those details under wraps, right?
Right.
No comparing paychecks at the water cooler.
Exactly. That kind of transparency can breed unnecessary competition and distract from the real mission.
Thiel believes equity should be a unifying force, not a source of division.
It's kind of like that saying, the grass is greener where you water it.
Yeah.
Instead of worrying about what others have, focus on building something amazing together.
That's a great way to put it. And on that note...
Thiel also cautions against getting caught up in the perk war.
Okay.
All those extravagant benefits some companies offer to attract talent.
You mean like those nap pods and beer Fridays?
Exactly. Thiel sees those as distractions, not real motivators. He believes the best way to attract and retain top talent is to offer something far more valuable.
Yeah.
The opportunity to do meaningful work on challenging problems alongside a team of brilliant and passionate people.
So it's not about the free snacks, it's about being part of something bigger than yourself.
Exactly. It's about finding those individuals who are driven by the mission, not just by the perks.
Right.
People who thrive in environments where they're challenged and empowered to make a real difference.
And that brings us to another one of Thiel's contrarian viewpoints.
Okay.
The importance of distribution. He argues that it's not enough to build a great product.
No.
You need to have a solid plan to get it into the hands of customers.
It's like that old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Right.
You can have the best product in the world,
Right.
but if no one knows about it, it won't matter.
He debunks the myth of build it and they will come.
Thiel argues that distribution is often the make-or-break factor for a company's success.
Okay.
It's not just about having a sales team.
Right.
It's about finding the right channels to reach your target market.
And he breaks down distribution into three main strategies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Complex sales,
Marketing and advertising.
and viral marketing.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And the most effective strategy depends on the product and the target customer. For example, complex sales are crucial for high-ticket items where building trust and relationships is key,
Right.
while viral marketing relies on word of mouth and network effects to spread the word like wildfire.
So there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
You have to choose the right tool for the job.
Exactly. And Thiel emphasizes that distribution often follows a power law, meaning that one distribution channel is likely to be far more effective than all the others combined. It's about finding that one channel that gives you the biggest bang for your buck.
Like PayPal did with eBay.
Exactly.
Initially, they struggled to find their footing.
Oh, really?
They tried banner ads, even hired Scotty from Star Trek as a spokesperson.
Beam me up, money.
I can see why that didn't quite work.
Right. But when they partnered with eBay, they tapped into a massive market of online buyers and sellers who needed a secure way to transact.
Right.
That was their game changer.
It's all about finding that perfect match between your product and your distribution channel.
Absolutely. And speaking of finding the right fit...
Thiel also delves into the future of technology and how it relates to humanity.
Okay.
He doesn't buy into the fear-mongering around computers replacing humans.
It's a relief to hear someone talk about technology with a bit more optimism.
Thiel believes computers are powerful complements to human intelligence, not replacements.
Right.
He advocates for definite optimism.
Okay.
The idea that we can shape a better future through technology, but we need to be deliberate and intentional about it.
So instead of fearing the robots, we should be focusing on building technologies that empower people.
Exactly. Think about what PayPal did with fraud detection.
Okay.
They combined human analysts with machine learning algorithms to create a system that was far more effective than either could be on its own.
And then there's Palantir, the software company Thiel co-founded.
Right.
They build tools that help human analysts make sense of massive amounts of data.
Not to replace them, but to make them more effective at their jobs.
Their technology has been used in everything from fighting terrorism to uncovering financial fraud.
Wow.
It's a great example of how technology, when used thoughtfully, can augment human capabilities and help us solve complex problems.
It's exciting to think about the possibilities when you approach technology with that kind of mindset. Not as something to be feared, but as a tool to amplify our own potential.
It requires a shift in perspective. Instead of asking, will robots take our jobs? We should be asking, How can we use technology to create new and better jobs to solve problems that have long seemed insurmountable?
It's about being proactive, not reactive.
Right.
And that ties into Thiel's analysis of the clean tech bubble.
Yeah.
He uses it as a cautionary tale,
Right.
showing what can happen when even well-intentioned companies lose sight of the fundamentals.
He argues that many clean tech companies stumbled because they were so focused on saving the world that they forgot about the basics of building a successful business.
They had the why figured out,
Right.
but missed the how.
Exactly. And Thiel provides a framework for thinking about the how
Okay.
with his 7 crucial questions that every business must answer.
These questions cover everything from the problem you're solving to your competitive advantage and your long-term plan for market dominance.
He uses Tesla as an example of a clean tech company that got those answers right.
Right.
They didn't just build electric cars.
Right.
They built the best electric cars and created a brand that stood for luxury and innovation.
They also understood the importance of distribution, securing their own network of charging stations to address a major pain point for electric car owners.
Right.
It wasn't about following the pack. It was about forging their own path.
It's a great reminder that even in a crowded market, there's always room for innovation and disruption.
And that brings us to Thiel's final point,
Okay.
the power of founders.
He argues that truly transformative companies are often led by individuals with a unique combination of vision determination and a healthy dose of contrarianism.
He's not talking about your average CEO here.
No.
He points to figures like Sean Parker, Bill Gates, and Steve Jobs.
Right.
People who weren't afraid to challenge the status quo and pursue their own unconventional paths.
These were individuals who possessed both extraordinary technical skills and an almost uncanny ability to anticipate the future.
Right.
To see possibilities where others saw only roadblocks.
Thiel also cautions that these same qualities can be a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
A founder who's too convinced of their own brilliance might miss crucial feedback or become resistant to change.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance.
Right.
Founders need unwavering belief in their vision, but they also need the humility to learn from their mistakes and the wisdom to surround themselves with people who will challenge their assumptions.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into 0 to 1, what's the key takeaway you want to leave with our listener? What's that one nugget of wisdom that they can take and apply to their own life, their own pursuit of building something new and impactful?
For me, it comes down to this.
Okay.
The future isn't something that just happens to us.
Right.
It's something we create. Every one of us has the potential to uncover those hidden truths.
To pursue those 0 to 1 moments that can change the world.
Yeah.
It starts with asking the right questions, challenging conventional wisdom.
And having the courage to forge our own paths even when those paths lead us in unexpected directions.
It's about embracing the unknown and being willing to go from 0 to 1. Thiel leaves us with this challenge. Our task today is to find singular ways to create the new things that will make the future not just different, but better, to go from 0 to 1.
So what's your 0-1 opportunity? What will you create?